poem was about baby brother, a love letter. Our prompt was we had them analyze how Gavin Johnson, the on-world speaker, uses poetic devices and techniques to describe complex attitudes towards masculinity.
Okay, so the poet is from Los Angeles, California, and he is a professor at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And he teaches, he's an associate professor and director of African American and African diaspora studies. And a fun fact about him is one time at school, a girl approached him and assumed that he had wrote poetry before, and she called it so sexy. And that night he went home and wrote his first ever poem, and that started his career.
So yeah, this is a poetry poem. You may notice when looking at the packet that he omits some lines that were in the packet, which is kind of interesting. This might be really loud.
I'm so bad at this.
Baby brother is 3 years younger than me. He is a free ticket to an amusement park. He is the front row at a comedy show, a museum of laughter. Baby brother is always a good time. Being raised by a single mother meant that my job was to take care of him, which was always easier said than done. In the 3rd grade, he lost a set of keys to our house no less than 12 times. When my mother saved up to buy us these expensive jackets for Christmas, he left his on the playground the first day he wore it to school. The teachers called my mother because he talked in class, because he fought in class, because one time in the 1st grade, he kissed a girl open mouth in the back of the class. Baby brother is hip-hop at a summer barbecue. He is loud, always gets the party going, and no matter how out of pocket he is, you cannot imagine a single thing in this world without him. When he began learning about addition, he excitedly told me about it on our daily walk home from school. He asked, Javon, what's 1 plus? I, confused, asked, 1 plus what? We went back and forth like this until he finally gave up and said, you know, for you to be so damn smart, you don't know nothing. That moment always stuck with me. It is the earliest memory I have of failing as a teacher. Baby brother, these days, is teaching me a lot. He's teaching me so much. I think about 1 plus, and I think that maybe baby brother stumbled onto something accidental. I think 1 plus is baby brother and his wife. 1 plus is baby brother, his wife, their newborn daughter. 1 plus is family. It is endless possibility. 1 plus is love, because love does not always make sense, but it always adds up. And these days, baby brother is adding up. Baby brother recently got married, and I was not his best man. And honestly, I wasn't mad at him, but it did hurt a bit. Baby brother and I were never really that close growing up. I used to beat him up often. At some point, I began hitting him so much that he started to hide till my mom came home. But this was never my first act of violence. We teach boys that in order to become men, they have to kill off their emotional selves. And I became a damn good drone. I blew up everything in my path. My fists were hammers. I treated everything like nails. My masculinity is a well-hung portrait in the hallway of a crumbling house. And every time the wind blows, it's the only thing I think to grab nowadays. I'm afraid it's all I'll have to hand down to my children. My masculinity is a facade. It is a poorly built suburban neighborhood trying to fool us into thinking the entire system isn't coming crashing to the ground. It is an armadillo, a small mammal with a hard shell who knows how easily it can become roadkill. When I was younger, I broke my collarbone playing street football. They left me out in the middle of the street like a lost Jesus or something. They didn't believe the boy was in as much pain as he could not say music. Isn't that just the perfect metaphor?
Okay, so the speaker is Javon Johnson, and he's telling the perspective of an older brother that was affected by societal gender norms. The occasion is the story of being an older brother, both his upbringing and his younger brothers. He his reflection on his childhood, and the audience can be himself, his little brother, and anyone who has a sibling, a younger sibling, that is affected by society and these norms. And then purpose was description of love for his younger brother. He's showing remorse, he's showing appreciation for his younger brother, and he's emphasizing his frustration with societal gender norms.
Alright, so for like structure and tone, we said there was a tonal shift like around 62, but like when listening to the poem, it's more like a gradual tonal shift. But I feel like we thought it was like around 62, so then we split it like that. Like the first 2/3 being more of a narrative, describing like his brother growing up, and then it's very lighthearted, kind of playful, and it also gives off like a proud big brother, like he's proud of his little brother, like getting married and doing hip hop and stuff. And then afterwards, by like 62, it becomes more of a confession. It starts with him admitting that he beat his brother, and then it gradually becomes a critique of how society views masculinity, and then it keeps going like that. And then that leads us into our thesis, which we thought was in the slam poem written by the Javin Johnson, portrays the strained yet loving relationship between siblings as Johnson battles between an inner pride towards his brother's accomplishments and character, and a bit of frustration felt towards childhood gone too fast, revealing the harsh balance between protecting a loved one and confronting the injustices betrayed through societal gender expectations that boys are nothing without their masculinity.
Okay, so before the Volta, he talks a lot about his brother and how much he loved him and all like the good aspects of their upbringing together. Our claim was that initially Johnson depicts the speaker's relationship with his brother as comical and unapologetically proud because he compares baby brother with happy memories. We see this most clearly through Johnson's use of metaphor as he attempts to create the perfect image of nostalgia to describe his younger sibling. So the quote they used was baby brother is the perfect hip hop song out of Summer Barbecue. And this describes like how he saw his brother as perfect and how he brought so much light into his life and everyone around him as well. And then our global claim was through Johnson's comical images of childhood relating to his brother, he reveals how love for one sibling can resolve conflict by itself and turn even the darkest days a little lighter. So obviously before the Volta, he's describing how much his little brother impacted him and how he's such a good part of his life before he gets into the bad part.
Okay, so bad part she was speaking about was after the Volta, and how how the tone shift obviously to being more ashamed and being a critique. We felt that it was best shown in the quote on line like 81 and 83, which is my masculinity was a well-hung self-portrait in the hallway of a crumbling house. Describing his masculinity as a well-hung portrait, something that's like he's taken care of and something he cares about, contrasting with like a neglected house, kind of reflects how his masculinity, which was a picture or like a facade, like when you think of a picture, you think of one frame of reality, and then that's like not true, actually like fully true. And then his crumbling house can represent like his relationship with his brother gradually being neglected as he focuses on portraying this like false facade of being strong and masculine. And then we thought that kind of clinging to masculinity is what he's trying to say is very harmful to like relationships and stuff.
So the last slide of the poem is, and isn't that just the perfect metaphor? So this is following the story he tells of when he was left on the street with a broken collarbone and no one like helped him. He wasn't able to call for help because his entire life he was expected to hide his emotions and conceal them. So calling back to the title, he describes the poem as a love letter, and we see this through how he reflects on his poor behavior and both appreciates his brother so much. And in conclusion, we see that like he's recognizing the toxic masculinity in his life, and he's apologizing for it, and he's showing frustration towards it as well. And he expresses remorse for the traumatic impact he had on his brother's upbringing. And society, he claims that society teaches and expects young men to behave a certain way. And it's a final warning to young men who are growing up in honestly any society that can have this impact, and he's like trying to like urge them to resist it. Yeah.
I really liked when you explained the portrait because I think what you said was like when you think of a portrait, you think of something that's really real, but in reality, when like it's not reality. So that it's like someone's making fun of it because it's like that's not what's actually like, true.
Oh, I'm so sure.
Yeah.
Wait.
Just give some